Suki was an ordinary loser who got sent into a fantasy world, where he became a Gigachad Rizzler, with the power to manipulate internal energy, and the hero who defeated the Demon King. Respecting the last wish of the Demon King, he brought his daughter to Earth along with him, and lies to everyone that she is his younger sister. They take admissions in a special school for people like him, where he tries to reach the top of the food chain while wondering whether the Demon King's daughter will go berserk one day and destroy the entire planet just like her father wanted to do. Smuggling her back to Earth was a chore in itself as Suki ran through a forest, away from his responsibilities, just like my dad did, while he gets attacked from behind by some unknown attackers. He manages to dodge most of the attacks, but decides to face the attackers, who turn out to be two weak-ass maids trying to shoot him down with arrows. To their surprise, Suki is much stronger than them and manages to block all the arrows easily as he throws away his cloak, ready to fight. Before he could move, he gets attacked by two more maids who bind his arms with their ropes. But Suki shows them their true place in the kitchen as he pulls them both down and grabs them on his shoulder. He tells one of them to make him a sandwich, and this knocks her out, while the other maid jumps away from him, only to realize that this Gigachad has Ultra Instinct and has already taken her undervest away. He immediately runs off through the bushes once again before coming to a stop in a clearing as he realizes that he is being surrounded. He calls out the attackers who emerge from the bushes while their leader tells him to return back to the castle at once since he is the hero and can't simply run away back to his old world. The maids immediately move towards him, but he manages to slip past their arms and expertly unhooks all of their underwear, which he throws back at them while they all sit on the ground humiliated. The maids all fall back in terror at this man, but their leader is built different and takes out her spear, telling Suki to return back to the castle. Otherwise, she will be forced to hurt him. Suki laughs at this and tells her to try. But obviously he is much stronger than her and defeats her easily before moving on. Soon he exits the forest near the teleportation portal, where he finds Princess Listy waiting for him. He walks past her without even looking at her since she is flatter than the earth, but she grabs his arms, asking whether he is truly abandoning this world. Suki claims that since he has already defeated the Demon Lord, there is nothing for him to do in this drab world filled with flat women with no personality. Listy shouts at him that she is not flat, but Suki tells her that a flatbread has more curves than her. He then tells her that if she ever needs his help, she should call him sincerely, and he will return. With that, he leaves through the portal back to his own world. Utterly tired, he sits down on the bed before opening the bag he was carrying, which turns out to be a whole-ass pink-haired woman. She wakes up and is immediately horrified to see herself in a weird place, but Suki tells her not to worry as they are in his world right now and claims that she was the one who requested him to take her back to his world. She immediately covers herself with a blanket and introduces herself as Miyu, the Demon King's daughter. The next morning, she waits outside in the balcony, wondering what this new world is when a car arrives and Suki takes her inside. He tells her that no one can know that she is from another world. So they come up with a story about her being his younger sister, who was lost in another world for a long time, but found Suki and came back. He tells her about the Summoning Syndrome, which started happening some years back when randomly people started teleporting to different worlds, and many even returned back to their own world after a while. Some of these people were special because they managed to retain their special abilities from another world, including magic. They both go through their physical examination because they will now be studying and working under an organization known as Babel, which takes care of people with special abilities to make the world a better place. Soon enough, the results of their physical examination came back, but Suki was worried that they would find out that she didn't belong to this world and send her back. Thankfully, both of them pass the physical examination and are soon escorted by a gym bro towards an arena as he claims that Babel has special anti-magic technology that prevents anyone inside to get harmed physically by magic, even though they feel the pain and the mental trauma, where the gym bro tells them to take any weapons they want, as he needs to see their current skill level in order to figure out what to do with them. Miyu takes out a sword, but Suki claims that his fists are enough to deal with roided-up gym rats. The gym bro takes him lightly and decides to fight against Miyu first, who immediately casts a defensive barrier on herself. The gym bro gets cocky and rushes in for an attack, but to his surprise, Miyu immediately uses an extremely powerful water magic that blasts him into the wall, as he wonders how someone can cast two magical spells at once, while Miyu uses lightning magic on him as well, finishing him off for good. Two doctors immediately rush to the scene to make sure the gym bro is fine when a young white-haired boy enters the arena. He introduces himself as Hikami, the student council president of Babel, and tells the doctors to take the defeated man back to the hospital. Hikami tells Suki that he would like to be his opponent, which really excites him since only the strongest person could become the president. Suki agrees, but to his surprise, Hikami uses an ice pillar to attack Miyu without warning. Luckily, Suki's reflexes are fast, and he manages to save her just in the nick of time. Annoyed, he turns towards Hikami, who tells him that he just wanted to test his speed, and he is impressed now. He asks why Suki wants to fight without any weapons and challenges him to break the ice wall with his fists if he is so confident. Suki immediately takes him up on the challenge, while Miyu advises against it, but Suki disregards her and focuses all his strength into his fists before punching the wall. The punch creates a huge shockwave, which impresses Hikami, and even though the wall didn't break, he claims that their entrance exam is finished now and welcomes them to Babel. However, just as Suki leaves, Hikami touches the ice pillar, which shatters into pieces. They return home by the evening and lay down a huge feast in order to celebrate their acceptance in Babel. But Suki keeps remembering his encounter with the Demon Lord, who asked him to take care of his daughter, as she is completely innocent, and if left in this world, she would also be killed. Miyu calls out to him, snapping him back to reality, while he wonders what she thinks about the man who killed her father. Late at night, Miyu keeps staring at a picture belonging to Suki's family while she thinks about her dad's death. She clearly remembers how her dad had asked Suki to take care of her, and though she took his hand while respecting her father's wishes, her heart still aches whenever she thinks about it. She goes to Suki's room for revenge because her dad has also told her that she was free to kill him if he wasn't good enough for her. She activates a dark flame to burn him, but then his smiling face pops up in her mind, forcing her to reconsider. She decides to stay by his side longer and judge his character. The next day, they reach school, where everyone keeps staring at them, and Miyu is quite nervous. Suki assures her that it is normal for the students to be curious and wary about any new transfers and tells her to just be herself. He takes an empty seat by the window, and Miyu asks if it is fine for them to sit anywhere. And just then, a tomboy named Chika comes there laughing at his cheeky attitude. She has heard about the two new students, one of whom kicked the instructor's butt yesterday, while the other one got approval from the student council president himself. She also says that they must be quite remarkable if they are placed in the B class right off the bat, because most of the students here had worked their way up from the E class. They introduce themselves to each other after that, and then Chika tells Suki that he should get up from this seat because it belongs to the worst troublemaker in the class. Speak of the devil, and the redhead named Oni comes barging into the classroom, asking Suki how dare he put his stinky, unwashed ass on his chair. Chika warns Suki about Oni's violent spree that caused him to be demoted from Class A to Class B. Suki doesn't give a shit about that, and he simply hits Oni out of the class. He then grabs his head firmly, compressing his skull with his fingers, telling Oni that he loves crushing the egos of idiots who think they are better than everyone else. He menacingly asks the redhead how it feels to get his ego crushed when Miyu comes out and tells him to stop. The very next moment, a bunch of students come running towards them, and Chika says that they are from the disciplinary committee. Miyu panics, saying that Suki should not be punished because he did everything in self-defense. But he tells her that it is fine because he planned to meet with the student council anyway. He is taken to the student council office and told to wait till the officers come to talk to him. When the student council officers come to see him, they are shocked to see Suki sitting in Hikami's seat with his feet on the table. They tell him to get his peasant ass off the chair that is meant for the student council president, but Suki refuses. The student council members are getting angry, and then suddenly, Hikami enters the room. As soon as Suki sees him, he leaps to attack him. The council members try to intercept him, and then deflects a fireball with a kick. The third member tries to trap him using a giant earthen hand, but Suki shatters it too. He gets back on the ground, but the student council members have him surrounded now, and they tell him to not think about making a move. Hikami asks Suki what the hell was all this about, and he replies that since he called him here, he thought that they were going to resume their battle from where they left it last time. Hikami replies that he never called for him. And then the student council vice president Haruka tells him that she was the one who called him here after hearing the report from the disciplinary committee. She tells Suki that they plan to thank him for handling Oni well, and he replies that she could just have sent him a thank you note with her used underwear. Haruka tells him that they also wanted to warn him that now he is on the watch list of the student council because he turned to violence on the first day of school. Suki leaves the office after that, and then the lowly class representative Kuzu comes to take him back. As they head to the arena for their first lecture, Suki learns that Kuzu skipped a few grades because she was really talented. However, she tells him that the student council members he just picked a fight with are monsters compared to her and tells him not to get into any trouble with them. Suki tells her that she is too late to warn him because the damage has already been done. As soon as they come to the arena, Haruka comes flying there, holding her skirt down as her face is red with embarrassment. She curses Suki, who used his nimble hands to take off her underwear mid-fight earlier. She declares that she will punish him and summons her weapon to attack him. Haruka speeds towards Suki and thinks that she taught him a good lesson. But it turns out that he stole the second part of her undergarments and completed the set. The embarrassed Haruka runs away, threatening to sue Suki for harassment. After the class, Suki and Miyu help Kuzu deposit the equipment in the storeroom. Kuzu hears some moaning sounds coming from behind, so she goes there to check and finds Chika doing Netflix and chill with her lesbo partner. Damn! As soon as the girl realizes that they have been discovered, she hides herself in shame, but Chika is chill because it is not a new thing for her. The girl suddenly gets too embarrassed to face anyone, so she runs outside in panic, closing the door behind her. Kuzu and Chika panic because the doors are designed to be opened only from outside. Suki wants to break them open, but Kuzu stops him. She tells him that destroying school property will get him severely punished, and there is no need to break the door because another class will come here soon and free them. So the four of them wait for someone to come, and Kuzu suddenly feels her bladder reaching its limit. She fidgets and twitches as she tries to keep it in, and Chika suggests she let it out in a corner. Kuzu tells her that she is a woman of principles and won't do such a shameful activity in front of others. However, her situation gets worse with each passing moment, and she begins crying. Suki is a gentleman at heart, and he can't let a girl cry, so he goes to Kuzu and offers to help. He asks Miyu and Chika to stand on her either side and then suddenly hits their abdomen, transferring some energy there. Both the girls immediately fall to the floor as they feel the pressure in their bladders rising. They ask Suki what the hell he did to them, and he replies that he learned the ability to manipulate the internal energy of others, and he used it on them. He explains that Kuzu will be embarrassed if others watch her wet herself, but if everyone does the same, she will have no reason to be worried. Miyu and Chika call him a pervert as they try to hold it in, but then Suki suddenly bites Kuzu's ears, which makes her wet in more ways than one. She pees herself, and the remaining two also follow suit. Soon after that, Haruka opens the door to the storeroom, and the three girls immediately run to the bathroom, while Suki is lying on the gym equipment after the girls beat him senseless. The next morning, Miyu completely ignores Suki and doesn't even prepare any breakfast for him. Later at school, as all the students are standing in line for lunch, Oni picks on the timid boy named Tanaka and gets his spot forcefully. Suki doesn't like this, so he does the same to Oni and shows him that he is his now. Oni still has the PTSD from their first meeting, so he goes back without complaining, and then Suki calls Tanaka to the front and goes to the end of the line like a proper gentleman. On the other hand, Kuzu gets called to the student council office, where Haruka chews her out for not being able to keep Suki on a leash. When she returns to the classroom, Chika and Miyu are really worried about her, but she tells them that the matter with the student council is none of their business. Suki notices something odd about her behavior, so he decides to see what he can do. He enters the same elevator as her later in the day and tells her to ask him anything she wants in return for causing trouble for her. Suki knows that the student council has ordered Kuzu to report anything she can find on him, and he promises to tell her anything she wants to know. Kuzu tells him that he is right. She has been ordered to submit reports on him every morning, and if she fails to give even one report, she will be sent to elementary school with other children of her height. Kuzu thinks it might not be a bad thing after all because she doesn't feel she belongs in this academy. She complains that no matter how much she studies, she will never become an adult before due time. But Suki claims that he can help with that. He takes her to an internet cafe, literally dragging her around once inside. He uses his power to make her weak and places her on the couch before locking the door. He moves closer to Kuzu and tells her that he is going to turn her into an adult. And she replies that she didn't mean like this. She says that she wants to be an adult who knows what they are doing and what other people are thinking. Suki tells her that adults know jack shit about what they are doing, and they know even less about other people, so she doesn't need to worry about it. He keeps moving closer to her, and then suddenly hugs her, telling her to be more open with her emotions if she wants her school life to be happy. Kuzu is taken aback, but she takes his advice seriously and begins smiling. Later that day, Suki and his class have a practical combat class, and the gym bro tells them about the special bracelets that can be used to summon the weapon most suitable for them. Miyu summons a magic staff, but Suki can't summon anything because he can't control magic. After that, Jimbro tells everyone to choose if they want to be in a team or fight solo. Suki wants to join the team with Miyu, Chika, and Kuzu, but they are not going to let a certified molester like him join them, so he has no choice but to go solo and fight another student. He looks around and finds Oni, who is bullying his favorite target, Tanaka. Suki tells Oni to become his partner, and when he refuses, he threatens to kill him. At the end, he says it was a joke and reveals that he can't use magic, so he has to use a cheap sword to fight. Oni thinks he can win now, so he accepts his challenge. Just as the fight starts, Suki is hit by a fire pillar that erupted right under his feet. Oni thinks that he won because of this surprise attack, but Suki is unharmed, and he says that he could see this attack coming in his sleep. Oni attacks him with his disc blades, but Suki cuts them down and then charges at him with full speed. He doesn't even hit him, but Oni passes out because of fear like a wimp. Suki is disappointed that even a guy who loses so easily can manifest a weapon using his bracelet and wonders if his bracelet is broken. So he takes Oni's bracelet and wears it too. And then his magic weapon starts taking shape, even though it dissipates immediately. On the other hand, the girls are fighting a monster called Cacatris, which is considered the weakest monster. Chika tells Miyu that Cacatris can turn people into stone, but since it is a simulation summoned by the school, its petrification ability is turned off. However, to their horror, the Cacatris that is summoned is extremely powerful, and it turns half the class into stone. Even Jimbro doesn't know how to deal with this. Kuzu decides to stall the bird monster by trapping it in earthen pillars, but it breaks them and charges at her. Miyu protects Kuzu with her magic shield, while Chika uses water magic to suffocate the Cacatris. Miyu yeets it away, and then both the girls turn to ask Kuzu if she is fine. Kuzu tells them to run away, but they say that they are not going to leave their friend behind. They decide to use their remaining power to end things quickly and use a combo attack on the Cacatris. Miyu thinks that they won, but Kuzu suddenly realizes that they are screwed because the monster had been absorbing their magic. It suddenly breaks free from the earthen prison and grows in size before shooting its feathers at the girls. Kuzu and Chika protect Miyu, but they get turned to stone. Miyu panics, but summons her weapon and courage in time to block the Cacatris from attacking her friends. She starts getting overwhelmed, but then Suki arrives to save her. He punches the monster away, and Miyu suddenly collapses because she is too exhausted. Suki tells her to leave everything to him, and she warns him that the monster can't be harmed by magic or physical attacks. Suki decides to try out his new weapon in that case, and he uses the power of the multiple bracelets on his wrist to summon a huge badass sword. But it is not as big as my sword. The Cacatris attacks him with its feathers, and even though Suki deflects most of them, one of his hands gets turned to stone in the process. He still charges ahead, attacking the monster again and again. Finally, he pours all his internal energy into the sword and stabs the monster with it, causing it to explode and die. Immediately after that, everyone who was turned to stone returns to normal, and Miyu runs to check up on her friends. Later, the student council is in turmoil about the incident because it turns out that someone deliberately tweaked the settings to make a super powerful Cacatris appear instead of a toned-down version. On the other hand, the bullied boy Tanaka is heading somewhere, and Suki is already there to intercept him. Suki asks him if he is going to return the thing he stole from the staff room, and Tanaka asks him what he is talking about. Suki tells him to stop playing dumb, because he could tell from the first moment that he saw him that Tanaka is much stronger than Oni or anyone else in the class. Despite that, he keeps enduring the bullying from Oni for his personal reasons. Tanaka asks Suki what he is trying to say, and he reveals that he knows that it was Oni who stole the master key from a teacher, entered the programming room, and changed the difficulty setting of the Cacatris to get revenge on him for the humiliation the other day. However, he believes that Tanaka actually used him as a scapegoat while he made the Cacatris even more powerful. Tanaka tells Suki that he might be right and then suddenly charges at him, pushing him back with a kick. Suki immediately summons his giant sword, but Tanaka activates his ability too. Before Suki can do anything, he is hit by swift blows from all sides, and he can't even see Tanaka because of his speed. Suki is pummeled from all sides, and his weapon disappears as he loses consciousness. Tanaka decides to finish him off so that no one knows his secret. But just as he comes close, Suki summons his weapon again and swings it at him. Tanaka realizes that he was just acting to pass out so that he could get him to lower his guard. He is confused about how Suki can still be harmed after taking so many of his attacks, and Suki replies that he has a solid defense and high HP. Tanaka decides to change his strategy, and instead of attacking Suki, he activates a spell targeting the school building instead. He declares that the attack will destroy the building and the students will die under the rubble falling on them. Suki asks him why he is doing this, and Tanaka says that the school may act like it is helping kids with superpowers find their place in the world, but it is nothing more than a training ground for superpowered mercenaries who will be sent to every war zone on Earth in the future. He declares he will destroy it at all costs and tells Suki to stop him if he can. Suddenly, he is encased in a pillar of ice, and Hikami makes his entry. There is some tension between him and Suki, but neither of them want to fight right now because dealing with the problem at hand takes priority. Suki goes back to the gym hall, where he finds Miyu and others giving first aid to the injured. Suki comes there with some medical supplies, and as Miyu asks him where the hell was he till now, she suddenly collapses. Later, she wakes up in the nurse's office, and Suki brings a drink for her to cheer up. Since she is still hurt, he uses his internal energy manipulation technique to increase her recovery rate. After that, he suddenly brings up the topic of her father's death and tells Miyu that she should not suppress her emotions. Suki understands that she must hate him for her father's death and asks her to feel free to express her sorrow and rage at him because he deserves it all. Miyu suddenly clings to Suki and bursts into tears, and he comforts her as she lets it all out. The next morning, as they are having breakfast, the news talks about a member of the organization Cocoon coming to Japan. Suki sees a face he recognizes, and he starts trembling with rage, causing Miyu to worry about him. During her lunch break, she asks her friends about Cocoon, and they tell her that it is the group of the strongest people who have returned from other worlds. They are as powerful as the military of a small nation, and they represent their countries on a global scale. They help run the world, and they have founded Babel to train and send superhuman soldiers to different conflict-ridden parts of the world. Kuzu and Chika ask Miyu why she is so curious about Cocoon, and she reveals that ever since Suki heard that name on the news this morning, he has been acting grumpy. At the same time, Suki is on the rooftop, thinking about the blonde guy whose face he saw in the news earlier. Just then, another guy comes there and remarks that he has heard about Suki. He says they should shake hands, but then proceeds to punch him. Suki easily blocks his feeble punch and remarks that this is also a type of handshake. The guy kicks Suki's feet, but he was ready for that too. He manages to overwhelm the guy easily and throws him on the ground. He taps out and says that he was just trying to give him a friendly greeting and never meant any harm. Suki believes him and helps him get up, and the dude immediately realizes that he can use internal energy manipulation. He claims that he sees some potential in Suki and tells him to meet him next Monday so he can introduce him to someone. Suki asks him to introduce himself first, and the guy says that he is Kai, an outcast from Class A. Soon after that, Hikami goes to another city to deal with a terrorist attack, leaving Haruka in charge of the student council, and she plans to use this chance to prove to everyone that she is perfectly capable of running the school. Meanwhile, Suki's class is giving a test, but Suki is sleeping peacefully and drooling like an imbecile, while others are giving the exam, and when the teacher comes to check his sheet, he finds that he perfectly answered all the questions. After class, as they head home, they find Miyu looking depressed because the test made her realize that she has the IQ of a brick wall. Chika tells her to cheer up because the ranking matches will be held after the exam, in which she can increase her score by fighting other students. She offers to go somewhere nice for a change of pace, but just then, Kai comes there and says that Suki has to stay back because he already has plans with him. Suki asks him who the hell is he, and Kai freaks out as he tells him that they met on the roof last week. Suki suddenly remembers meeting Kai and agreeing to go with him somewhere, so he lets the girls go back alone. Kai takes him to the workshop right behind the school where he works and shows Suki some cars they have modified. Suki asks him about the guy he wanted to introduce him to, and he takes him to the racetrack right behind their workshop, where the boss is working on a sports car. Kai introduces Suki to his boss, but he doesn't give a shit about him. He ignores Suki and goes to take tea break, but Kai follows him there. He reminds his boss that he asked him to let Suki try a special ride, but he refuses, saying that his friend would get hurt just like him. While Kai tries to negotiate with the boss, Suki notices that he is clearly hostile towards him for some reason. Suddenly, his attention goes to a covered vehicle in the corner, and he decides to check it out. Just as he removes its cover, a powerful electric attack Pikachus him, and Suki falls to the ground. He asks what the hell is this weird-looking bike that shoots out electricity, and the boss reveals that it is a spirit-powered motorcycle called Sleipnir. He says that the body and engine are made of indestructible materials, and it can generate a maximum of 16.7 million horsepower, which allows it to easily break the sound barrier. Kai tells Suki that despite all these high specs, it is useless for everyone because it doesn't let anyone ride it. Suki realizes that the bike chooses who can ride it and shocks those who fail to get accepted. The boss says that the shock earlier was just a warning, and if he tries to ride it again, the bike will hit him with its full power, and he might not be able to survive it. Kai, however, believes that Suki should be able to handle the bike. Suki doesn't plan to risk his life just so that he can ride a bike, and the boss tells him that he made the right choice because only his dad could ride the bike. Suki suddenly grits his teeth in rage as he hears about his dad and asks the boss how he knows him. He replies that they met a very long time ago, and he was the only guy who made Sleipnir accept him. The boss tells Suki that the bike won't accept anyone below his father's level and tells him to give up because he has not reached that level yet. Those words backfire because Suki wants to prove that he is better than his shitty dad, who went off the grid as soon as he was born. He challenges the bike and succeeds in riding it, casually breaking the sound speed barrier. In another part of the city, a group of terrorists has taken some people hostage in a hotel, and the police have called Haruka and others to take them out. As Haruka flies to the location, the police tell her that there are 20 armed terrorists in the building, and they are claiming to be from the group called Crimson Twilight. Haruka knows that Crimson Twilight is a group consisting of superhuman terrorists, and she believes that the terrorists here are just borrowing their name. Her friends from the student council also join her, and they soon reach the building where the hostages are being held. They attack the terrorists on guard at the roof from above and knock them out without making a sound. Next, they open up a shortcut to the floor below and take down any patrolling terrorists, and finally arrive at the hostage room. The brown-haired girl quickly creates an earthen wall to separate the hostages from the terrorists, and then the fire user guy and Haruka rush ahead, quickly defeating the terrorists. They feel relieved that they were able to solve the issue without any casualties, but it turns out that one terrorist was hiding among the people, and he takes a girl hostage. He goes outside with his surviving men and tells Haruka to order the police helicopter to escort him to safety. Haruka has no choice but to listen to him to save the girl, but just as the helicopter lands, the girl starts crying. Sensing the tears of a girl, Suki comes to the rooftop and lands a powerful punch to the terrorist, knocking him out and saving the girl. The remaining terrorists get ready to shoot, but Haruka and her friends defeat them quickly. After the situation calms down, Haruka lashes out on Suki, telling him that his actions were too reckless, and the girl could have died if he made even the slightest mistake. Suki tells her to calm down because it didn't happen and declares that it is his principle in life to never ignore a girl in need of help. Haruka is flustered, but Suki pays her no attention and walks away, and she can't follow him as the girl's mother comes there to thank her. At the same time, in the fantasy world that Suki saved earlier, a meeting between the rulers of different countries is taking place. They decide to combine their forces to combat the small fragments among the demon army that are still trying to attack them even after the demon lord's death. Princess Listy agrees to the proposal, but Emperor Barum, the ruler of her neighboring country, says that they should focus on other things first. He reveals that he has information about the location of the Demon King's daughter, who went missing after his death. He says that they should send a hunt party to capture her and kill her before she becomes a threat to them. The old pope asks him where the girl is now, and Barum tells him that she crossed the teleportation gate and went to another world, but no one believes him because only heroes from other worlds can use the gate. However, Barum reminds them of Suki, who recently used the gate, and he is certain that Suki took the Demon King's daughter to his world. They soon go to the teleportation gate, where Listy tells her subordinates that if Barum proves to be wrong about blaming Suki, he will have to take full responsibility for it. Just then, Barum comes there with his troops as well. Listy then asks him how exactly he plans to send a pursuit party to find Suki and Miu through the gate because only people from other worlds can use it. Barum tells her that he has got it all sorted out. He calls forth Phil, the hero of his kingdom who is from Earth as well. He says that Phil will find Suki and the Demon King's daughter and then bring her here for her punishment. Listy is shocked again because she knows that it is not possible for people to return to their world after they have left it, but Barum tells her that he knows a way for that too. With that, Phil begins leaving for Earth, and he asks what he should do if Suki stands in his way. Barum says he can just kill him, and Listy sternly objects, saying that Suki is the hero who saved their world, and he should be treated with respect. Barum says that anyone who protects the Demon King's daughter is their enemy, and then reminds Listy that Suki is not a hero but a rogue. He reminds her that the real hero of her kingdom was Leon, who died protecting Suki from the Demon King. He insults Suki, calling him a coward, and Listy and her subordinates take offense at this. Barum tells her that he doesn't care what she thinks and says that once Phil finds Miu, it will be clear that Suki is a traitor. Phil is about to take his leave, but then Listy's knight pulls out his sword, saying that he wants to check his skills before letting him go on a dangerous mission. Listy tries to stop him, but Phil accepts his challenge. He suddenly releases an intense bloodlust that causes everyone to freeze from fear, and Phil declares that it should be enough to give him the passing marks. With this, he enters the teleportation gate, and now Listy is worried about Suki. On the other hand, Suki is getting ready for the ranking tournament when Kai suddenly appears behind him. Suki remarks that he couldn't sense his presence until he called out his name, and Kai says that he must be mistaken. He quickly changes the topic, saying that many people in the ranking tournament will be planning to beat Suki and gain fame. Just then, Miyu calls out to Suki, telling him to join the group. She is irritated by every little thing, and Suki asks her if it is that time of the month. Kuzu tells him that it is because all the guys are staring at her like hungry dogs stare at a piece of steak. Kai can attest to that, because he thinks that many guys think Miyu is a 10-on-10 baddie, including himself. Suki wonders why no boy talks to Miyu then, and Chika tells him it is because of his reputation. Suki finds it true as everyone runs away just as he turns around. Kai tells him that only the people in Class A or those on the student council can fight equally with him. And Suki is excited to learn that he will get the chance to fight the student council in this tournament. Just then, Hikami and others arrive there, and Suki challenges him to a fight. Hikami tells him that he won't be able to make it to the ranking matches because he is a member of the organization called Cocoon, and he has to make preparations for their annual summit. Suki keeps egging him on to make some time for him, and in the end, Hikami agrees to be available on the last day of the ranking matches to take him on. Suki is happy with that, but Haruka tells him that he won't last till the last day because she will defeat him right as she enters the tournament. Hikami interrupts her and says it is time for them to go. Soon after that, an announcement is made regarding the rules of the ranking matches. It will take place in a forest for 48 hours, and the ranking will be decided by how long one could keep fighting. Anyone who loses consciousness or surrenders will get eliminated, while the rest can keep fighting for as long as they can. The barrier that nullifies physical damage will cover the entire forest, but they will still feel the pain. On top of it, their bracelets can now sync with their gym uniforms, transforming them into unique costumes that suit their personality and fighting style. The ranking match starts after that, and Suki's team is immediately attacked by another team. The girls take all the attackers down in an instant, and Suki has nothing to do at all. They have defeated one team, and Kuzu says that there are 38 more teams like this in total. Suki says that the number will soon be 37, and then summons his sword. He hits the ground hard with it, and another team that was hiding underground is eliminated instantly. Suki can also sense that more people are hiding to ambush them, and he tells them to come out immediately if they don't want to get eliminated. The opportunists come out to face them, and the girls panic a bit because the enemy group has more than one team. Suki tells them that there is nothing to worry about because they are all small fries who won't last even 10 seconds. He swings his dark sword again and leaves a huge crater on the ground as the attackers are knocked out. At night, Suki and his friends are relaxing around a campfire when suddenly, Miyu feels her wind barrier being shattered. Haruka and her friends make their appearance and challenge Suki to a fight. He says that he is surprised because he was not expecting them so soon, and Haruka's friends say that they were originally planning to join the tournament only in the evening of the next day, but she was too eager to meet Suki. Haruka is flustered and tells them to stop saying things that can be misunderstood. She then challenges Suki to a one-on-one fight, but he says he can take her entire group at once. Miyu and others say they will help him, but he tells them to rest and save their energy because they have more fighting tomorrow. They go to a quiet place nearby, where Haruka activates spatial magic to create a special barrier that prevents sound and vibrations from leaving the area so that they can fight without any interference. Suki is pleased to hear that, but he wants to know if the result of this match will be counted in his final score. The fire user says that it will be counted, but he doesn't need to worry because even if he loses now, his team has scored enough points to get promoted to a class. Suki tells them that he doesn't plan to lose to them anyway, and Haruka tells her friends to stay out of it because it is her fight. Suki immediately summons his sword, and then Haruka attacks him, only to find that it was an afterimage. The real Suki is high in the air, so she distracts him with a strong gust of wind and then shoots a powerful wind bullet at him. Suki dodges that and attacks her, but Haruka is quick to move away. She thinks that she has an advantage if they fight in the air, but then Suki sends a flying dark slash towards her, and she gets flung far away despite blocking it. Suki arrives there to finish her off, but then suddenly, he is attacked by powerful earth and fire magic. Haruka's friends are there to back her up, and she lashes out at them, reminding them that she told them to stay away. They retort that they never agreed with her and ask her to admit that Suki is too strong for her to beat on her own. They tell her that if the vice president of the student council loses to a problem child, it will damage their reputation, so they must use their full force to bring him down. Just then, the fire attack clears, and Suki comes out of it unharmed. He has only got a scar on his face after all those powerful attacks because he activated an anti-magic barrier in time. Haruka and her team summon their weapons and begin charging them with magic to take him down. But Suki suddenly overpowers them mentally using his internal energy. They lose all power, and then Suki sends a dark slash to finish them off, but it gets cancelled out by someone else's attack. Suki looks around angrily to see who interfered with his fight and finds that it was Kai. Kai tells him that it is no time to be fighting among themselves because bigger problems are at hand. He asks Suki if he has noticed the small cut on his face and then reminds him that the entire school is covered by a special barrier that makes all the damage purely mental so that no one is harmed. However, if he got cut, it means that the barrier is gone. There has been no announcement about the situation as well, which means that the teachers are in trouble and the situation is worse than they can imagine. Suddenly, they see an explosion in the direction of Miyu and the girls, and Suki immediately runs there to save them. A few minutes earlier, Miyu got too worried about Suki, so she wanted to go to help him in the fight, and her friends decided to go along too. Just then, she felt someone coming towards them and turned around to find that it was a knight from her world. Phil introduced himself to Miyu and said that he is here to take her back to their world. By the time Suki reaches their location, they are all gone, and only the destruction caused by the explosion is left behind. Haruka and the student council members immediately decide to contact the control room to locate Miyu and others. Suki, however, realizes something and breaks open a rock nearby to reveal Kuzu and Chika inside it. They are both badly injured, and Kuzu is the only one conscious because Chika shielded her at the last moment. Suki asks who did this to her and where Miyu is. Kuzu tells him that a very strong man attacked them, and they had no chance. She says that she had never seen his face before, but it seemed that he was from the same world where Suki went. As for Miyu, she ran away, trying to lure the knight away from her friends. Suki uses internal energy manipulation to provide first aid to the girls and then tells Haruka to take them to the base. He then asks the other two to help with evacuating the other students while he goes ahead to rescue Miyu on his own. On the other side, Miyu keeps running away from Phil when suddenly Oni comes in between them. Phil asks him to step aside because he has no interest in him. However, Oni refuses and launches a surprise attack on Phil, which doesn't do any damage. Phil decides to deal with him quickly so he can go back to playing tag with Miyu and charges at him. However, all he punches is an illusion Oni created. He has his clones all around Phil, who tries to blow them away, but Oni creates more of them. Phil asks the redhead if he wants to be a hero in front of Miyu so that she can help him lose his V card, but he replies that it is not the case. He says that he was once a pathetic bully who felt strong by tormenting the weak. He was unable to accept that he was weak when Suki defeated him, and he tried to get back at him by fiddling with the tests. However, when he found out that his actions helped the terrorist named Tanaka, he decided to change his ways and face himself. That is why he is going to stop running away from his weakness and fight for his pride. Phil asks him to save that story for someone who will give a shit about it. And Oni suddenly detonates his clones to attack him. They do 0 damage, and then Phil blows away the rest of the clones before slamming Oni against a boulder. He decides not to take his life because Oni was fighting for his pride and not Miyu. Oni loses consciousness from all that damage, and when he wakes up, he finds Suki healing him. He points the direction in which Miyu and Phil went, but Suki tells him that he already knows. Suki then turns to the trees and calls for Kai, who comes out of hiding. He asks Kai to take Oni to the hospital as he rushes ahead to save Miyu. On the other side, Miyu comes to an open space and thinks that she can fight Phil here. She thinks that her life has been in danger many times, but she was never this afraid. She suddenly starts thinking about Suki and prays that he comes to save her. Just then, Phil comes there and tells her that their game of tag is over. Miyu has some questions for him, the most important one being how he plans to take her back to her world. She has heard that no one can return to her world after they have left it, but Phil tells her that it is just what people believe in. He explains that there is a way to return to the world, just like there was a way for Suki to bring her here. Miyu suddenly attacks him, but Phil blocks her attack and instantly reaches close to her. He knocks her down with a punch to the gut and makes her weapon disappear. He pins Miyu to the ground and tells her that once she is taken back to their world, she will be publicly executed to suppress any rebellion that is happening in the demon clan. Miyu doesn't believe him, because she understands that Phil plans to lure out the demon clan members who are hiding by publicly executing her, and that way, he can squash the entire demon clan in one fell swoop. Phil tells her that she got him and asks her to obey him quietly, or he will go back and kill her friends. Miyu calls him a coward, but he says that she has no right to call him names when she paid the price of being saved by Suki with her body. Miyu is furious now, and she tells Phil to take his words back, but he simply moves closer and tries to harass her. Miyu cries, and then suddenly, Suki arrives there, telling Phil that he will pay for making the girl cry. He summons his huge sword and charges at Phil, blowing him away with his powerful strike. They clash again, and Suki asks him how he found them here. Phil reveals that he had to interrogate some teachers at the school to find their location, but they were not cooperating, so he had to kill most of them, and he broke the barrier around the school as well. Suki is furious now, but Phil tells him that it is his fault for bringing the Demon Lord's daughter here to protect her. He asks him if he is willing to fight a human from his world for a demon from another world, and Suki replies that it has nothing to do with their species because he is not going to let anyone make a girl cry. He swears to crush Phil, who replies that now he has no choice but to kill him. Phil releases a shockwave that pushes Suki back, but he immediately retorts with a dark slash. Phil blocks it and then shoots energy balls at him, but Suki deflects them and pounces on him again. Phil blocks his attack easily, but then Suki uses his internal energy technique to deal him some damage through their swords. Phil knows that Suki can't use magic even though he is highly skilled in internal energy, so he shoots some more energy balls at him. However, Suki can use an anti-magic barrier with his internal energy, and he deflects all the attacks. Next, he charges up his energy to create a rip-off of the spirit bomb and shoots it at Phil, who creates a barrier, but the spirit bomb shatters it and hits him into the boulder below. Suki walks towards Phil to finish him, saying that he is a tough one to have survived the attack. Suddenly, he feels something odd and immediately puts some distance between them. Phil gets up and tells Suki that he underestimated him, but he never thought he would go to such lengths to protect the Demon Lord's daughter. He says that he pities poor Princess Listy, and Suki angrily asks him what he has done to her. Phil says that he didn't touch the princess but destroyed the grave of the late hero Leon, who saved Suki from the Demon King. Job keeps explaining that everyone considers Leon a true hero, and he can't stand that, so he destroyed his grave to reduce his glory, and now when he goes back with the Demon King's daughter, everyone will praise him as the true hero. Suki is furious at him, so he rushes towards him full speed and hits him away with a powerful punch. However, Phil immediately gets up and shows his speed, instantly reaching behind Miyu and taking her hostage. He tells Suki to throw his weapon and take off one of his bracelets, because that will be enough to prevent him from summoning it again. Suki does as he is told, and his weapon vanishes. He then asks Phil why he is so intent on taking Miyu back, and he replies that he needs a Demon Lord that he can defeat to surpass Suki and Leon. That is why he is taking the Demon Lord's daughter to take his position and give him the glory he needs. Suki scoffs at him, saying that after everything, Phil is just a jealous loser whose only motivation in coming here was to get ahead of someone he knows is far ahead of him. He tells him that he will never be a hero like this, and Phil snaps. He attacks Suki, but to his surprise, he has protected even his throat using internal energy. Suki then shows his true strength and hits Phil with a devastating punch combo before slamming him to the ground. Soon, Phil is out of commission, and Suki wears the bracelet again to deal away with him. He tells Miyu to wait a little longer while he takes care of him, but she starts running away. The confused Suki follows her and finds her next to a cliff. He asks her what is wrong, and Miyu says that she has finally realized that she has no place to belong to. She claims that because she is the Demon King's daughter, people will keep coming after her, and innocent people of this world will get caught in the crossfire. But she can't return home either, or it will create conflict in the other world. That is why she has decided to unalive herself by jumping off the cliff. She jumps into the lake below, hoping to drown herself, but Suki jumps after her and rescues her. He then calls her stupid for letting the words of an asshole like Phil get to her. Miyu says that he was not wrong, and no matter where she goes, people will get hurt because of her. Suki tells her to stop saying stupid things and reminds her that her dad fought till the end to create a world where she could live safely and happily. He even entrusted her to his arch-enemy so that she could continue to be safe, and if she kills herself, she will be f***ing all over his conviction and actions. He tells her that no matter who comes after her, he will protect her and the people who are important to her. He reminds her that she took his hand that day and asks her to trust in him. Miu is moved, but as Suki tries to touch her, she moves away, telling him that he always acts nicely towards her, and that confuses her. She tells him that even after everything he said, she doesn't feel that she belongs in this world or the next. Suki tells her that belonging is not about places, but about feelings and people, and she belongs with him. Miu is startled by his words, and Suki suddenly kisses her to tell her that he is serious. Miu accepts her fate and decides to drop the thoughts of taking her own life. Suki then tells her that they should hurry and check up on others, and he also wants to interrogate Phil some more. Suddenly, he falls on the ground, and Miu notices that he got injured when Phil attacked his neck earlier, and it seems there was poison on the blade. She panics as his body temperature starts falling, and in a bid to save him, she switches to the age-old method of sucking out the poison from his wound. Soon, Suki is back on his feet, not because of Miu's stupid stint, but because he used his internal energy to heal himself. He wants to head back to the base, but he is still wobbly because of the poison. Miu tells him to rest some more before moving, but Suki tells her that there is no time for that. Phil has gotten up and is in front of him for round 2. He asks Suki if he is even human, because he is still standing after being afflicted by poison that can instantly unalive anyone. Suki throws the same question as him, because he hit him so hard that his nervous system should not even be functional now. Phil says that he will reveal the secret to his power now, and then suddenly, he releases a surge of energy and transforms into a white dragon. Suki freaks out on realizing that Phil made a pact with the dragon of misfortunes from the fantasy world to fight against him. Miu also panics and claims that it should be impossible for humans to form a contract with dragons because they are higher life forms. Suki doesn't care how the mad lad got into a contract with the dragon because he plans to fight him anyway. Miu suddenly stops him, saying that he is not yet recovered from poison damage. She knows that he is the only one who can defeat Phil now, but not in the current condition, so she decides to be the decoy and buy time for him to recover his energy. She rushes ahead, and Suki cannot chase after her because he is still weak because of the poison. Miu then uses her power to fly and hits the dragonified Phil with a powerful wind attack. She tells him to follow her and flies away. On the other hand, Suki runs into Kuzu, who has come to help Miu. She stops her golem when she sees Suki and learns the details from him. Suki knows that she is here to help, but he tells her that he cannot let her put herself in such danger. Kuzu says that 2 decoys are better than 1, but then suddenly, Chika arrives there and says, "Make it 3. She is still recovering from her injuries, but she came to the forest to help Miu. Suki knows that it is useless to try and convince girls to not make stupid decisions, so he tells them to go ahead. However, he wants them to promise not to push themselves too hard and keep Miu safe. They agree, and then Kuzu asks him to give the exact time it will take him to get rid of all the poison in his body, and he tells her that he needs 30 minutes. On the other hand, Miu is trying to keep the dragon Phil busy, but her wind magic is useless against his thick scales. She decides to hit him with her staff next, but even that is useless. Miu falls to the ground, and Phil is about to stomp on her, when suddenly, Haruka comes flying and takes her to safety. She asks Miu where Suki is right now and learns that he has been poisoned, so he is recovering. Haruka decides to deal with the dragon before Suki can join the fight, and her friends also arrive to help her. They know that direct magic attacks won't work on a higher life form, so they begin infusing their weapons with magic to make them more effective. Haruka attacks the dragon first, dealing it a small wound, which her friend aggravates with her morning star. The fire user then gets on top of the dragon and stabs it with his sword, but then gets tossed away when the dragon swings its neck violently. It begins flying away, so Miu shoots some iron pillars at it with her wind magic. The dragon is enraged now and decides to attack her, but then suddenly, Kuzu comes there and hits in the head with her giant hammer. Chika also joins her and shoots a flurry of magic bullets using her bow. Miu tells her that magic attacks don't work on the dragon, but Chika tells her to look properly at the numerous explosions around the dragon. Her attack turns the water vapor in the air into oxygen and hydrogen, and then makes them react quickly to create small explosions. Kuzu then informs Miu that Suki asked them to hold the dragon for 30 minutes, and then he will join the fight. The fight resumes with Haruka attacking the dragon, who counterattacks by shooting energy balls at her. Haruka tries to dodge, but the energy balls are quickly neutralized by Chika's arrows. She shoots the dragon to buy time for Kuzu and the other Earth user to create their most powerful golems. The girls send their golems to hold Dragon Phil down, and then the fire user enchants his sword with flames to deal him some burning damage. Miu decides to use a signature attack of her dad and uses magic to overload her body with electricity. She turns turns the electricity into a sword and attacks Phil with it, dealing a great deal of damage. However, he immediately heals himself and Miu feels something is wrong. She tries to warn everyone, but it is too late as Phil releases a powerful wave of energy that knocks out everyone except Miu. She draws out her weapon, but when Phil tells her that if she doesn't surrender now, he will really kill her friends, she gives up on fighting. He grabs her with a tentacle and tells her that now he will take her back to her world and become a hero by killing her. Miu tells him that he will never be a hero, even if the entire world praises him. She says that only the person acknowledged by the Demon King can be rightfully called a hero, and there is only one hero in the world right now. That is, Suki. Phil tells Miu that if she acknowledges Suki as the hero, she should try to kill him because he killed her dad. Miu replies that her dad was the last Demon King, and she is not going to walk the same path as him. She declares that she will live like an ordinary girl in this world, and she trusts that Suki will come and save her. Phil has had enough of her rambling, so he activates his powers to return back to the fantasy world. Miu cries for help, and then suddenly, the tentacle holding her is cut, freeing her. Suki catches her, riding the supersonic bike that he probably pulled out of his ass at the last moment. Miu is really happy to see him, and he tells her to leave everything to him. Phil attacks him with the energy blasts, but Suki counters them with a dark slash. He then leaps at him and stabs him with his sword, which begins turning to stone because of the dragon's poison. Suki decides to change his strategy and hits Phil with his bare fists. He keeps on dealing swift attacks to him, but they don't seem to do much damage. Suddenly, Phil hits him with his tail, sending him crashing into a nearby building before headbutting him. They come out of the building fighting, and Phil gets the upper hand as he hits Suki to the ground. He shoots hundreds of energy bullets at him, and Suki takes great damage from them. Phil then charges at him, but Suki summons his sword at the last moment and hits him in the chest. He couldn't do any damage from that attack either. But then suddenly, Phil feels a sharp pain in his heart. Suki reveals that he couldn't hurt him with his attacks, but he was slipping in a bit of his internal energy inside his body each time he attacked, and that was enough to bring him down. Phil tells him that it is not enough to beat a higher life form like him and charges a powerful attack to annihilate Suki. Suki also gets ready to block his attack, but then suddenly, Phil shoots his attack towards Miu instead, creating a huge explosion. The explosion engulfs everything around it, but when Miu opens her eyes, she finds that she is completely fine. Suki acted as a meat shield and protected her from all the damage, and then she looks behind her to find that the rest of their friends are also safe. Suki turns around and smiles, asking Miu if she is fine. Suddenly, the ground shakes as Phil gets ready to fight again. Suki holds his sword that turns to stone and shatters from all the damage it took, and one of his bracelets snaps too. He decides to fight the rest of the battle with his bare fists, and Miu tells him that it is too reckless. He tells her that he doesn't care even if it is impossible for him to win, because he is going to fight. He asks Miu to believe that he will win, because this is the time to test her faith. Miu tells him that she believes in him, and then walks towards him to give her bracelet to him. Just then, Haruka also comes there, and she gives Suki her bracelet too, just in case he loses another. Phil asks them if they have said their goodbyes because now he wants to attack. Suki says there is no need for it and then charges at him. He punches the dragon with full might before summoning his sword and deflecting his attack. He charges at Phil again, blocking his energy beam with his sword, but it is too strong and he gets hit. As he is falling to the ground senseless, Phil charges another attack to finish him off, and Miu screams at Suki to get up and fight. He returns to his senses on hearing her voice, and puts on another bracelet to summon his sword that looks a bit different this time. He uses it to slash through Phil's attack and moves ahead to split him in two with the same motion. The dragon explodes because of the damage, and Miu rushes to Suki's side. Seeing him not move, she gets worried and starts crying, but Suki turns around to tell her that everything is fine. Her tears start flowing even more intensely, and she hugs him. A few days later, everyone resumes their school life, and Suki is on the roof again, thinking that he didn't get the chance to face Hikami after all. Suddenly, Kai comes there looking for him, and tells him that his team won the first place in the ranking tournament, and now they will all be promoted to a class. Suki is glad to hear that and asks about Kai's performance. He replies that he just got by, and then Suki asks him how strong he really is. In the last fight, some chains restricted the dragon at the last moment, giving Suki the chance to strike him without problem. Suki knows that Kai was the one behind them, and he says that he was hoping to be sneaky about it so that no one could notice. Suki realizes that Kai is hiding his true strength and asks him if he would have defeated the dragon on his own if he were not fighting it. Kai says that he is not crazy to fight a higher life form and takes his leave, only to call his boss to report that Suki is even more amazing than he thought. On the other hand, in the fantasy world, a meeting between the rulers of the continent is called again. By now, Listy has found out that Phil got his power by making a contract with the Dragon of Misfortunes, who is considered as great a threat as the Demon King himself. She demands Emperor Barum explain how he could stoop so low, and he replies that the means don't matter as long as they get the result. He says that if Phil uses the power of the dragon to return with the Demon King's daughter, he will be proven right. But if he doesn't, he will accept that he was wrong and apologize for insulting Suki. Just then, Listy's guards come running with an urgent report. They inform everyone that the Dragon of Misfortune has died, and the monsters in its territory have started fighting among themselves after being freed. Barum is aghast to learn that Phil lost despite having the dragon's power, and Listy gets the chance to act smug. However, her guards inform her that the demon clan has started rising up again, and they wiped out a unit of their joint troops. Soon, preparations for a war start taking place, and Listy remembers how Suki asked her to call him if she ever needs his help. She starts crying, calling his name, and Suki can feel her tears even in another world. He realizes Listy is in trouble and decides to help her. But before that, he wants to help Miu tell her friends everything about herself. After that, he tells them that trouble is brewing in the other world, and he is going to take a quick stroll there to set things right. Miu wants to join him too, and so do Kuzu and Chika. Suki agrees to take them along, unaware that Haruka and Kai have also arrived at his house to meet him. As they see strange lights coming from his room, they immediately rush inside to find Suki in the middle of teleporting themselves to the other world. Kai plans to go with him too, so he uses his chain to join their circle, and Haruka holds his hand to join in as well. Suki sighs, telling them that they are not going on a picnic, but it is too late to turn them back now, and he teleports everyone to the other world.